Hello again. So I recently found this piece of woodland that I've not explored before nearby to where I live. It's just by the old railway line. So I'm going to get some woodland shots. So let's see what I can find, huh? So yeah, woodland photography isn't that easy. It's actually quite difficult. You've got to have a subject, as in any photograph, but because of the chaos of woodland, how trees can just grow quite randomly, finding a subject can be quite difficult. And this is why I always say explore, 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 until you find your scenes. And you know, this is great because I've got this, although I was here for a little while a couple of days ago, I didn't really explore it all, so this is going to be quite nice. So there's a few ways you can shoot woodland. There's path scenes. Now path scenes are quite good, but they need to be leading somewhere, either to a point of interest at the end of the path, or if you can't do that, find a winding path so it leads out of the scene. It draws your eye then into maybe the trees that you're photographing. The other way is foreground interest. This could be mushrooms, as I've just seen some on the floor there. This could be the leaves, it could be an old stump, it could be whatever is interesting, but it needs to be the focus of your scene. And again, you know, you can just shoot trees. There might be an interesting tree that you can isolate, or a branch. And this is where I want to talk about separation. Separation is very important because that's where your eye is drawn to then. Weather conditions can affect separation. I mean, this is why people love to shoot in mist, because it can separate the depth of the scene. You know, how things in the foreground be in focus, but because the mist can blur out the background. So on other days like that, you could potentially just shoot at a narrow depth of field to get that separation, or you find a scene where there is a nice natural separation. You could maybe have a natural frame or something like that. Foreground interest, you can either shoot with a wide angle, shooting down at the ground and sort of incorporating the distortion of the trees at the back, or you can just get down low and shoot across and through. But those are different ways to shoot. I've got a couple of good examples today. This is where I was out the other day and I saw some scenes and got some decent shots actually, but I'll recreate them today. And then you can see what I mean about pathways and separation. So when I was out recently here, found this gully, ravine, whatever you want to call it. And most of the trees around here are just like spruce trees. I don't really know what they're called. I'm no expert on trees. I love photographing them, but I can't name them. So in this gully, all the leaves have changed. There's such a variety of trees in this gully. It's like an oasis almost. It's really beautiful. Really difficult to photograph though, because they're all on the slope. And therefore it's a very flat scene. No depth to it, just colour. But I'm going to have another look at it today and see if there's something I can do with it. It'd be a shame to have such a beautiful scene of colours and not be able to utilise it in some way. So that's where I'm going to head first. So here's the scene, and I'm using the path just here, the leading line drawing you into the middle basically. Lots of colour all around. This is the scene that I'm on about, where there's so much variety of species here. It's complete overload. So I don't know if this is going to work as a photograph, to be honest. But let's have a look. The histogram's great. I'm at f4 for some reason. Let's change that to f11. Bring down the shutter speed to 0.3, brings the histogram quite nicely. On a 2-second timer. Back button focus to the middle of the scene. Let's take a look at that one. As you can see, this scene is absolutely awash with colour. I know it's hard to believe, but I haven't added any saturation to this scene. This is exactly how it came out. I tried to use the path to lead the eye into the middle of the scene, and the path isn't prominent enough. There's a fern just in the way of the path there, so it doesn't make it so prominent. And it's a real shame because I haven't achieved what I wanted to do, which was avoid it just being a mass of colour. So back to the drawing board with this one. I'll have to go back and see if I can find another angle. I wanted to try and salvage this picture, so I did remove the ferns on the path to make the path a little bit more visible. This is starting to grow on me now as an image. I've shifted the crop to the left so that the path leads into the middle now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I quite like shooting when it's sunny. You can use the light sometimes to shine through and highlight what you're trying to have the main focal point of your scene. Sometimes you can get rays coming through, especially when it's misty. You can get sun and mist at the same time. You can get some really nice shots in the woodland. But you can't just rely on the conditions. You still have to have subject. You still have to have your composition. With this example, I wanted to show you how to use light. Now, it's overcast today, but because this woodland is very dense, there's still light coming through the gap in the trees and illuminating the ground. Now, although this is another path, it's the light that is the focal point of this scene, particularly shining down on that patch of grass and down here, and the light coming down through here. The phone's not really picking it up very well, so you're going to have to wait until the finished product comes up. But let's have a look at the histogram. I'm happy with that. I am overexposing slightly. I will be darkening the image to match the actual view that I'm seeing, and I might give it a vignette to really accentuate this light here. But it's f11. I'm going to bump the ISO up a little bit. It's a 5-second exposure, and even though it's still, that's 5 seconds. Let's go up to 400 and bring the shutter speed down. Happy with that. Everything's caught. There we go. Composition fine. I'll focus just there. 2-second timer. Okay, well, I've got the image. It's 1.3 seconds. So let's have a look at that one. This one turned out much better. It's a much simpler shot to take, to be honest with you. I think the eye draws you through the path to that single stump and then up through the light. That's kind of what you want to achieve. So yeah, all in all, I'm happy with this shot. I have put a vignette on it to increase the effect of that light coming through. But I'm very happy with this shot. I like this. So here's a shot which is a great example of separation. This lone tree here is obviously clearly a different species to the rest of them. That separates it to start with. It's also in an open space, again separating it, and the colours again separate it from the rest of the scene. So I've got it here in the third of the scene and focused on there. It's at f8 ISO 100 and I'm 1.3 seconds, which is fine because it's very still today, but looking at the histogram, I think I can overexpose a little. I like to get the dark scene. This isn't representative of what I'm seeing now. It's getting a bit dark now. The sun is setting in about half an hour, I think. Yep, half an hour. So anyway, I'll take this shot. 2-second timer. And let's have a look at that one. There's not a lot I can say about this picture that I didn't already say while taking it. It is a perfect example of separation, I think. The only thing that bothers me a little bit about this shot is there's a fallen tree just next to that tree that is the focal point. Maybe I should carry a chainsaw in my camera bag. But I forgot to say like and subscribe at the end of this video. So if you've made it this far, maybe you should consider subscribing. But hit that like button anyway, it really does help. Okay, well, that's it for today. I would have liked to have gone and shot something with foreground interest, but I've just run out of time. I won't have time today for that, but my last video really was based on that with the walkway, so I'll link to that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something from it, and yeah, that's it for this week. So until next time, take care.